Baby, let's film a video too. What video? No. Just a video I can watch when I miss you. Don't worry, I won't show it to anyone. I'm going to marry you in the future. I look at the high school graduation photo. At the boy standing in the third row diagonally behind me. Lin Heng, the sun falls on his face, revealing two little canines. I don't understand how such a good person could become what he is today. Then, I tucked that photo away at the very bottom of the storage room, until its edges turned yellow and curled. Our story begins in my high school years. Back then, he was the class monitor. He had great grades and a cheerful personality, and I was the good girl of the class, wearing a ponytail, loving to immerse myself in exercise books. It was just countless exchanges of glances. But the love in our hearts couldn't be hidden. But back then, we had a tacit understanding and never broke that thin layer of mystery. Until graduation day, by the lilac trees on the hill behind the school, he held my hand for the first time. His palms were covered in sweat. When Su Weiwei called my name, his eyes were bright. I've liked you for a long time. Now that we've graduated, will you be my girlfriend? I looked at him. The sound of the wind through the lilac leaves was like fine bamboo. And suddenly my eyes welled up. So many words were stuck in my throat, and all I could do was nod vigorously. Long-distance relationships are harder than imagined. During freshman year, we video called every night, sharing the novelties of our respective campuses. But gradually, his replies went from instant to taking forever. A girl's intuition made me uneasy. Until someone told me they saw him walking side by side with a girl from behind. That was the first time I brought up breaking up. That night, he took a 14-hour train ride on a hard seat and appeared downstairs at my dormitory. His hair was messy, his eyes were dark and hollow, and he was holding a bouquet of sunflowers that had already wilted a bit. Wei, that's a senior from my club. We were just discussing an activity. He stuffed the flowers into my arms, his voice carrying a sob. I'll definitely reply to your messages immediately from now on. I'll definitely keep my distance from other girls, okay? Please don't leave me. Looking at his pitiful face, my heart softened. During the National Day holiday of our sophomore year, he came to see me. We had saved money for a long time, so we finally didn't have to stay in internet cafes for dozens of yuan a night, private booths or youth hostels, but instead rented a short-term room near the school. The room was tiny, with only a bed and an old wardrobe, but there was a small pot of pothos on the windowsill, adding a bit of life to this simple space. After the tenderness of a long-awaited reunion,
He leaned against the headboard.
and suddenly pulled his phone out of his jacket pocket. He looked at me slightly. Let's take a photo. I instinctively wrapped the quilt tighter, my face turning red instantly. Are you crazy? What kind of photo? He leaned in, resting his chin on my shoulder, his tone as soft as melting marshmallows. I can look at it when I miss you. Look at how far apart we are. We only see each other a few times a year. I miss you so much. Then he opened his phone's photo album. Inside were our photos from graduation. When we went to the beach together during the summer after freshman year, candid shots of my profile he took, and screenshots from our video calls. Every single one recorded the time we spent together. Look, every time I miss you, I get through it by looking at these few photos. Just one shot. No faces, he said, leaning playfully on my shoulder. But that bit of unease in my heart began to surface again. Don't you trust me? He put down the phone, his eyes dimming. Didn't we agree to get married? I've even thought about how our future home should be decorated. In my heart, you're already my wife. The word wife made my heart skip a beat. I remembered that to come see me, he ate instant noodles for an entire month. I remembered the handmade album he sent for my birthday. Every page filled with clumsy yet sincere love letters. I remembered every time we parted, How his eyes were red at the station, yet he forced a smile. I was silent for a few seconds, and finally nodded. But I added a condition, only one photo, and no faces. Okay, whatever you say. He smiled immediately, revealing his two little canines, looking like that sunny and cheerful boy again. The sound of the shutter was exceptionally clear in the quiet room, like the beginning of some kind of trial. But at the time, I only saw it as a witness to our love. After that photo, there was a second, then a third. From photos to videos, my boundaries, under his constant persuasion, retreated time and time again. Each time, he would use the same reason. I miss you too much. We're going to get married. You're the person I love most. How could I possibly let anyone else see? I believed him, because aside from this one thing, he really was a great boyfriend. When I was anxious about exams, he would stay on video calls with me all night to study. He would spend most of the money from his part-time jobs on travel expenses to see me and on gifts. On graduation day, he dragged 2 large suitcases and appeared at the door of my rented apartment with a brilliant smile. The early days were sweet. Like all couples who just started living together, we went to the supermarket together, cooked together, and planned the future together. He wanted to start his own e-commerce business. I had heard too much about the risks of entrepreneurship, and both our families were ordinary working-class families. We couldn't afford a major setback. But I didn't say it out loud. I just nodded. I'll support whatever you do. He rented a small warehouse in the suburbs as an office, leaving early and returning late every day. I worked as a design assistant at an advertising agency. The salary wasn't high, but it was enough to cover our living expenses. The problems between us, when did they start? It was the 3rd time he borrowed money from me. The first time he said it was for stock. I gave him the 8,000 yuan I had saved from 3 months of work. The second time, he said it was for the platform deposit. I borrowed 5,000 from a colleague. The third time, he said he needed to pay for ad traffic. I hesitated. Wait, this is the last step. Once sales are up, we'll make the money back immediately, and even earn several times more. He held my hand, his tone urgent. Believe in me. This time it will definitely work. I looked into his eyes. They were bloodshot. He had stayed up for several nights in a row. The collar of his white shirt was a bit yellowed. My heart softened, and I got a 10,000 yuan cash advance from my credit card for him. Another 3 months passed, and his business still showed no signs of improvement. And I've already accumulated over 20,000 in credit card debt. What really pushed me over the edge was, I found a ton of online gambling records in a hidden folder on his computer. The gambling started back in college, and the most recent one was just a few days ago. That afternoon, we had the most intense fight since we started dating. He tried to explain that he hasn't played in a long time now. He just felt frustrated that his startup wasn't going anywhere, and desperately wanted to make some money. Lin Heng, it's over between us. When I said those words, I was weirdly calm. Pack your things and leave. His expression went from panic to gloomy. Su Weiwei, think carefully. I came to this city for you. Now you're kicking me out. Crying, I said. You're the one who lied to me first. He sneered and nodded. Fine, just don't regret it. The day he left, it rained really hard. I stood by the window, watching him drag his suitcase into the curtain of rain. He never looked back. In that moment, my heartbreak was real, but the sense of relief felt even more real. For 6 months after we broke up, I worked like crazy to pay off my debts, took freelance gigs on weekends, and did part-time design in the evenings. Life was tiring, but deep down I felt secure. It was during that time I met Li Yu. He was a client our company worked with. He owns a tech business. He's 5 years older than me, mature and steady. We got to know each other through a project collaboration. Being with Li Yu, I felt a sense of safety I'd long missed.
He didn't make grand promises.
But whatever he promised, he always delivered. He respected my job and my choices, never tried to change me. Remembered those little things I mentioned offhand, and would surprise me at random moments. Most importantly, when I was with him, I didn't have to worry or be scared, didn't have to stress about money, didn't have to wonder whether I was loved. A year into our relationship, he proposed to me. The ring wasn't big, but the design was unique. Wei Wei, will you give me a chance to take care of you for a lifetime? His hands shook as he knelt down on one knee, literally trembling. I nodded through tears and threw myself into his arms. In that moment, I thought I had finally made it through all the mud and was welcoming the sunshine I deserved. Meeting both families went smoothly. Li Yu's family was well off, and his parents were refined and courteous. They never looked down on my family's background at all. My parents were absolutely delighted with him. We received 180,000 as a wedding gift, which was considered above average where we're from. My mom grabbed my hand, put the wedding money card in my palm, and said, "This money, Mom won't touch a cent. It's all for you and your new family as startup funds." Everything was moving toward the best possible outcome. We booked a hotel, took our wedding photos. Invitations were printed. With just a month left until the wedding, the number I thought I'd left behind for good appeared on my phone screen again. It was Lin Heng. I hung up several times, but he kept calling. Finally, I hid on the balcony and answered the call. "Wei Wei, I heard you're getting married." His voice sounded exhausted. "Congratulations." I tried to keep my voice calm. "Is there something you need?" He let out a light laugh. "Of course I need something. I've run into some trouble and need money. I don't have any money to lend you. Don't be so quick to refuse." Suddenly his voice dropped low. "Your fiancé is named Li Yu, right? The tech company owner. He seems pretty loaded. You're living pretty well now." I squeezed my phone tighter. "What are you trying to say?" 100,000. He said it clearly and bluntly. "That's nothing for your fiancé, right? Give me 100,000, and we'll be even." I was shaking with anger. "Why should I give you 100,000? He gave a wicked smile. "Don't forget, I still have plenty of beautiful memories from our past. Those memories, you wouldn't want your future husband or our classmates to see them, right?" The world seemed frozen in that moment. The cars outside, people walking downstairs, even the construction noise faded away. All I could hear was my deafening heartbeat. "You promised you'd deleted everything." My voice was trembling. "Yeah, I deleted the stuff on my phone," he replied casually. "But me, well, I like to back things up. Cloud drive, hard drive, they're everywhere." I collapsed on the balcony floor, shaking all over. The sample album of our wedding photos was sitting on the living room coffee table, and in those pictures I was smiling so happily. Li Yu looked at me. His gaze was gentle. That night, I didn't sleep at all. 1,000 thoughts flashed through my mind calling the police, but that meant everyone would find out. I didn't dare to risk it, not knowing if Li Yu would still stand by me after he found out. After 2 days of struggling, I arranged to meet Lin Heng. We met at a cafe. He looked much older. His clothes were wrinkled, and he reeked of cigarettes. When he saw me, he flashed a crooked smile. Those 2 canine teeth still there, but not cheerful anymore, just greasy. Right in front of him, I transferred the 100,000 to his account. He formatted a hard drive, wiped another drive, and said the account was satisfied. "What about the backups?" I asked. "They're gone. That's all." He shrugged. "I wanted money, not trouble. Don't worry, from now on, we're strangers." I stared at him, raised the voice recording on my phone. "Good, you'd better keep your word. If you don't stick to the deal, I'll call the police." He froze for a second. apparently didn't expect I'd be so firm. He packed up his gear. Congrats on your wedding. My wedding with Li Yu went as planned. The ceremony was grand. When I went to toast the table of my high school classmates, I immediately spotted Lin Heng. My heart tightened sharply, almost dropping my glass. I had no idea when he'd arrived. He sat at the very edge, wearing an ill-fitting suit, hair barely combed neatly. He stood up, wearing a faint smile, raising his glass like any other friend. Wei Wei, Li Yu. Best wishes for a happy marriage. His voice was calm. His eyes glanced across my face, then quickly fell back to the amber liquid swirling in his glass. I mechanically clinked glasses and thanked him, my fingertips icy cold. Just as I turned to greet the next table, I caught a glimpse of him lowering his head, wiping the corner of his eye with his finger, as if he was wiping away tears. The wedding went smoothly, and married life was sweet. Lin Heng never contacted me again. A few days ago, while sorting through old things, I saw my high school graduation photo again. Lin Heng was standing in the third row, diagonally back. Both sunshine and those canine teeth had faded. I stared calmly for a few seconds, then tucked it deep into the bottom of a box in the storage room.